is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Thank you for joining us. So all week, we've been talking about the war in Ukraine and all the videos that are coming from the front lines showing what's really going on in real time. Like this video of a man who was filming a video when an airstrike literally rained down upon him on the building behind him. Ukrainians also released this video of a captured Russian soldier calling his mom. He tells her she needs to use social media so as many people as possible know the truth about Putin's attack. Now, this is what we're seeing in the West, but over in Russia, it's a very different story. State-run media is heavily censoring what's being said, limiting the access to Western media. They're even using children on TV to explain the war to Russians. They claimed many videos being seen across Russia are fake. They're also claiming, and they've done this for some time, that Nazis in Ukraine are attacking Russian speakers and police as a justification for this war.
Yeah. So this is not just any little girl. This is like a child prodigy in Russia, and they have her on the TV stations to convince kids that they should listen to. It's like finding the biggest YouTube star in America and putting her on television. And it's frustrating because kids are so impressionable, and we wonder why we have divisiveness or things where you don't like somebody because of the way they look. And it comes usually from the parents or the grandparents instilling in that. And these are adults putting this programming on television. And I know we can't expect more because Russia did this in the past. The Kremlin did this in 2017 when they tried to convince everyone that the U.S. was giving ISIS weapons and supporting that so they can make a case for entering Syria and killing people over there, which we talk about way too little. And so it's just looking at this, it makes me so sad because this young girl is probably just going along with the flow, trying to keep her popularity, doing what she's being asked to do. But kids are now watching her and just believing everything they say, and they're going to grow up to be adults that have hatred in their heart for people for no reason other than adults drop the ball.
What? Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I feel like, you know, Lindsay, this is the first time that we've ever dealt with, you know, obviously state-run propaganda, but social media, like a real war in social media time. I don't know what this is even supposed to look like, but if you think about it, he's talking directly to his mother through a phone, and that's something that Putin and everybody can't get in between. So I think what will be interesting is, will, you know, the kind of old school tactics like the television show work, or will social media kind of subvert that? Because look at what's happened in this country. Social media, you can argue Donald Trump was the prime minister through social media. January 6th was shown mostly through social media. So how will this affect this war? I don't know if we know.
Well, I'm just scared that Russia's going to get in there. They're blocking people from even looking at the BBC website. So if you think they can't get it on social media, and we sometimes play saying the way that China sets up their social media so you only can see certain things at certain times. But this is the problem when you start doing that, because now your country has carte blanche to do whatever they want and only feed you information that they want you to see, which is where Russia looks like they're heading.
Yeah, one voice. Only one voice do they hear. I do want to bring up, I don't know if you guys know Anonymous, the hacker group on the dark web. They have hacked into several Russian propaganda websites and taken them down. They've declared war also as a cyber war. So there's another third party to this war, which is like cyber, which I think is really interesting. I also agree with you. To me, seeing a soldier talk to his mom, Putin's got nothing on that video, right? Like Putin thinks he can just do what he did before and paint a picture. We've got live cameras of people being like, Russians aren't prepared. Their stuff is from like 7 years ago. Their weapons aren't up to date. And Putin's trying to hide that. We got video now. We got a body cam.
It's crazy that Putin's still trying to say that they're doing well. Like even as recent as yesterday, he keeps convincing people that he's doing well. But we're looking at what's happening. We're like, this is a disaster for you. He thought it was going to probably be a weekend, and then this is done, right?
I think you're right. And it's like the ego and the narcissism to continue that thought. It's going fine. It's going fine.
Yeah. He's really showing himself to be a leader from last generation. And we look at Zelensky, who is clearly of this generation.
Totally agree with you. I completely agree with you. Let us know what you guys think as well. So yesterday, we talked about calls here in the U.S. for the assassination of Russian President Vladimir Putin. We didn't on the panel, but we discussed it. Well, now Senator Lindsey Graham is saying this is a good idea. So here's what he told Fox News. Take a look, guys.
Somebody in Russia has to step up to the plate. Is there Brutus in Russia? Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? The only way this ends, my friend, is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out. You would be doing your country a great service and the world a great service.
Okay, strong words from the senator, but Senator Graham is getting blowback from his comments from both Republicans and Democrats. So take a look at this. This is Ted Cruz, he's a famous Republican, tweeted, "This is an exceptionally bad idea," adding, "We should not be calling for the assassination of heads of state." Ilhan Omar also tweeted about it, saying, "I really wish our members of Congress would cool it and regulate their remarks as the administration works to avoid World War III." You're nodding your head, Linz.
Well, that's the thing. It's like this rhetoric is dangerous by itself, not even saying that we're going to go in. One of our leaders speaking up on a public platform saying we should assassinate somebody who is off the rails is kind of irritating him to the point that he said that he would act. So it's like you're doing it without even asking Biden or asking NATO how they feel. And so to me, it's just like irresponsible and to the point that it could cause a war.
Right.
Absolutely.
What about people who say it's one guy doing all of this damage? And I'm not saying I'm voting. I'm saying some people think this, that if we went in for bin Laden for certain war crimes, this man is also creating different war crimes. But why can't we justify because his ego is creating this?
I don't know if it's his ego that's creating it, but what I do know is that Lindsey Graham shouldn't be talking about assassinating anybody. Yeah. Do you guys First of all, I think that we're kind of losing focus about who we're talking about, Lindsey. I think because, you know, he's not as social media savvy and he might not have a TikTok. People don't understand that Putin came out of the KGB and he's not about that life, this like going back and forth on TV. Lindsey Graham for sure doesn't want that smoke. The Republicans don't want that smoke. And the rest of the world does not, because he really will go to extreme measures. And I don't think, fortunately, very many people will, but you're talking to the one guy that will.
Who has the power
talking about taking his life on television. You have to cut that segment, I believe, if you're Fox News. I mean, it's that dangerous.
It is true. He also then tweeted it. So he put it in writing out on Twitter. He didn't just say it, he tweeted it. And again, we do have in the United States a law, an executive order signed by Gerald Ford saying we can't assassinate political heads until we're at war. So it would be a war crime if we did so anyway.
Right.
And the thing is, like, you have to always think about what do you have to lose. And so all of us, like you said, for the most part, agree overwhelmingly that we don't want to go to war. And so jumping out and saying these things, it's like, what do you have to lose? It's not that simple to just go in there and kill Putin and expect nothing. Like, he has several generals on the ground that follow him blindly.
Right.
And so you think they're just going to be like, cool, done. Like, it's not how it works.
No, he has the largest, I believe, nuclear weapon power, entire cartel of anyone in the world, and the power to use it, which is scary. I also think you're right. Wars are not fought with like ground force. They're fought with scalpels now. They're fought with like cyber wars. It's more protective. So saying that
until they're not.
Yeah, until this Lindsey Graham.
They're not.
Right.
I mean, that missile that we saw at the top of the show didn't look like, you know, a scalpel. And it's so interesting. We always look at people like, oh, we should go assassinate. It's like, oh, should we? Oh, who's going to do that? It's never Lindsey Graham. It's never we should go to war. We know Lindsey Graham and his kids aren't going. Mm-hmm. He's going to be vacationing in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. It's always somebody else. We'll have a poor person go do that. I'm going to sit here in this air-conditioned studio. Lindsey, if you want to do it, hey, Black Hawk helicopter leaves from over there, buddy.
I don't like that his name is Lindsey, really.
I know.
This is frustrating.
And
He's smirching the name of all great Lindseys.
And then the G last name is really going too far.
Lindsey Granger.
My favorite Lindsey right here.
You're different Lindsey G.
Thank
the
you.
best Lindsey G.
Thank you.
Coming up on DBL, our interview with spiritual guru Deepak Chopra. He's talking about his new book, and that's about finding the wealth within. It was fascinating. And a teen testifies against his dad in the U.S. Capitol attack trial. Could you do this to a member of your own family? We're talking about it. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning provided by...
This March, connect with Al, Lindsay, Erica, Jeff, and Tori. Exciting! Real conversations are on DBL.
Man, you guys want all the smoke with these hard questions.
DBL, all new every day. Nice job, Taylor. Someone wrote this, if they're not listening, so I'm just going to talk to you guys. This is my everyday life.
I am listening.
Okay,
I'll just say,
I'm listening. No one's really listening.
Obviously, Baby Ford is at the house. And
Baby
so
Ford!
He's been texting Carrie, our stylist, just letters.
Oh,
so I'm sorry.
Wait, that's so cute.
This is our stylist, Carrie, and my son,
Just
who has
doing
my phone,
letters?
has just been sending her letters of tennis balls.
Oh, that's
I don't know
really
why.
cute.
So I was just like...
I can't believe I made fun of that. I'm
yes,
so
and
sorry.
no, and Carrie's
She's such a good heart.
And
That's
it's
so
funny because
cute.
Carrie and I were texting yesterday about, we were reminiscing about when I fell down the steps at that open house, and she was just like, that was one of the happiest moments of her life. Because I texted her immediately, and I was still sore and hurt.
It hurt you? Ellen DeGeneres says embarrassment comes ahead of pain. DeGeneres. I did want to let you know there's a story going viral where a person in the United States rented an Airbnb from Ukraine. Obviously not going to go there, but the money goes directly to the Ukraine people, excuse me. And they wrote back and said, we're hiding. We appreciate your money so much. He's like a 75-year-old Ukrainian woman. So Airbnb is waiving all fees to have any kind of interaction so that you can rent, not go, but send money directly to Ukraine.
But what if I wanted to also stay there?
It's not a good time.
I know, but like, if I pay.
It's a lovely, lovely country.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really interesting take. The other thing that's interesting is Putin keeps pushing this Nazi-fy, that there are Nazis in Ukraine, and he wants to denazify Ukraine. Just so you know, again, Zelensky is Jewish and has family that fought in World War II against Nazis and had family members die in the Holocaust.
But I mean, that's been the motivation for people to go to war often. So, sad.
Welcome back. All right, the first January 6th insurrection trial is going on right now, and yesterday something really interesting happened. This is 19-year-old Jackson Reffitt, and he testified against his own father. He took the stand saying his relationship with his father was, quote, pretty great until 2016, when his father became active in a very far-right extremist group. Jackson turned his father, Guy Reffitt, into the FBI following the insurrection and provided recordings, text messages. Guy is on trial for transporting firearms from Texas to D.C. and bringing a firearm to the Capitol on January 6th. I also just want to let you know, he told Guy, his father told his son, if you turn me in, quote, you're a traitor, and traitors get shot. He also carried a firearm with him almost everywhere he went. So that threat wasn't just empty.
Well, he went to the Capitol, so clearly he follows up on what he says. Lindsay, I look at this, Lindsay, and for as much as I appreciate somebody doing their civic duty, I don't think I could do this with my own father. But it made me think maybe he feels like he's lost his father. Maybe this is a desperate attempt to get his dad back, because it seems like they had a good relationship. He went down a rabbit hole of January.
Radicalization,
yes.
yeah.
And feels like maybe this is the way to get his dad back, but I don't know if this is the way to do it. Doesn't seem like this is the dad that kind of learned lessons.
It seems like the theme today is just the kids having to learn on their own what right from wrong is more than the adults. And just listen to this story and then the propaganda that we just saw in Russia with kids having to take the lead and look at social media to find out the truth. This is an 18-year-old that was in an uncomfortable position knowing that his father was going to go do some harm. I mean, a lot of people are calling the January 6th attacks a terrorist attack. I mean, people were trying to do their civic duty and then being scared, terrified, almost killed, threatened. These are lawmakers that, we're supposed to protect.
But what about your dad?
But if it was my father going down there to do that, I have to, obviously
hard.
You love your dad, your dad, but if somebody would have got hurt, what would you prefer? It's almost like when it has to get to the point where you're recording your parents that that wasn't the first strike. Like, hey, I'm going to tell on you and give it to the FBI secretly. It had to be like, okay, you're so far off the rails, I got to tell somebody so you don't hurt us and someone else, or someone doesn't come back and retaliate against the whole family.
Right.
And I think when somebody's that far gone, it's not just like, oh, your dad who you feel bad about telling on.
Right. It seems like a person that was emotionally distant from his father. Think about how scared you'd be of your dad if he always had a gun with him.
Dude, and said, I'm going to shoot you? You're a traitor?
This kind of rhetoric is like, and that's why like words like traitor, when I see those being tossed around.
Right.
When you have a problem with somebody, you never call them a traitor. Even if like they might call you backstabber. They might say Lindsay shady, Tori shady. But like a traitor is only there to give you the permission to hurt that person in some way, because traitors, we saw Gallows at the 6th. it's only used in situations of like military, you've betrayed, and there you get the ultimate penalty. And that's why the word traitor really stands out, because there's only one punishment for that.
I completely agree. All right, we do have an update too to another story we talked about. Remember this, an Indiana teacher who was caught on camera hitting a student. So again, a warning to our viewers, this video is disturbing. In the video, you see the teacher, there he is, running after the student. He then hits him so hard, here he goes, that his head strikes the wall. Now that teacher has now been arrested, and some of you, I remember you wrote me in and said he needs to be. He's been arrested on felony battery charges, but a lot of parents and other students defended him. In fact, he was allowed to retire early with full benefits and pension. I mean, yeah, you assaulted a minor. You get arrested. That's a consequence.
There's like nothing that a kid can do. Kids are bad. Kids are all type of things,
and he said
right?
something
Ill-behaved,
awful.
Right, exactly. But you putting your hands on a kid and deciding this is the profession you want to go into, again, being a teacher is an option, just like there are many other options to do as a career. So if you can't handle unruly students, that probably is not the occupation for you.
Well, he's been in there for 40 plus years. He's like teacher of the year several times. So what do you think? He just thinks he can get away with anything because he's been there for so long?
I mean, imagine if that was your kid.
I know.
Al, look at it. What do you mean?
I mean, I'm looking at it as a parent and a teacher. A parent is more obvious. The teacher,
you have both perspectives.
I've dealt with that in terms of I've had teachers come to me like, look, Mr. Jackson, you need to take Tori. It's not working in our classroom. And I would have kids that would come sit in my classroom for certain periods. It's a weird thing. Some teachers just understand that, like, this kid's a problem with this teacher.
It just pushes
don't get
the buttons, right?
It's an unsaid thing.
Okay.
There's no real paperwork. It's just like, can Lindsay sit in your class because she can't, you know? And so it seems like this teacher has, because there's ways to go about it through the school and there's ways to go through it with teachers, like this kind of camaraderie you guys have.
Yeah.
And it just seems like he didn't do that, because to get to that point, that was a brick wall.
God.
Like, to get to that point.
He ran after him, like you said.
There was a lot of tension there. So it's a bigger story, but yeah, he's going to pay.
I'm glad he's been arrested. Let us know what you think on YouTube, on the app. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You tell me. Coming up on DBL, finding your inner path to wealth with Deepak Chopra. He tells us all about his new book, and that is coming up next. It was such a joy to speak with him.
I've never.
Look at this account. It has 2 videos, one with more than 36,000 views that seem to claim first-hand perspective of violence in Ukraine, with the poster soliciting donations. But here's the first warning sign. Those 2 videos soliciting donations are the only videos we can see. They have only a couple dozen followers and aren't following any other accounts. In other words, it appears to be a brand new account created to ask you for money. Another easy thing to look for: suspicious spelling or grammar errors. For instance, this user misspells the name of the city they claim to be from. That should raise alarm bells. If your suspicions have been raised, try investigating the profile picture. We did a reverse image search and found this pic is used by all sorts of accounts claiming to be different people. And if the account doesn't have a profile picture at all, that's a red flag. Finally, think about how they're asking you to send money. This person asks for direct PayPal donations. But right now, Ukrainians actually can't receive money over PayPal. It's just not a feature that exists there yet. And in general, experts say donating directly to individuals is a risky endeavor. We talked to the executive director at Charity Watch, a nonprofit watchdog.
Crowdfunding sites, we would say, are a no-go, because you just really have no easy way to vet whether or not a particular campaign is legitimate. The only exception to that might be if you personally know someone in the region, or you have someone who can vouch for that person.
Instead, it's best to give your money to reputable organizations, especially ones with experience in the region or with working in conflict zones, that have a demonstrable history of making sure funds are used properly and outline a specific plan for how they'll use your money to help. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back. He is a self-help guru and has published over 90 books on meditation, spiritualism, and healing. And earlier, we spoke with Deepak Chopra about his new book to get his wisdom on wealth, abundance, and even aliens. Take a look.
Deepak, welcome to DBL. We are so thrilled to have you. Your book is incredible. I wanted to ask you about the UFO phenomena. If extraterrestrials really are here, and we've all been discussing this on various media outlets, in your opinion, who are they and what do they want from us?
Well, it's a complex question. I just interviewed the astrophysicist from Harvard. Some of these very remarkable scientists believe that it's a real phenomenon. This particular person had identified an extraterrestrial object which had technology which was far beyond human technology. They're here more out of curiosity, looking at these, like we go to zoos, you look at primates out of curiosity. There are advanced civilizations for whom we may be primates.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
I feel like you're completely speaking to what I need to hear, because the world has gone through so much craziness, far more variables than constants. What advice do you have for anyone out there that's struggling to find their calm?
I think the main thing is take a little time once in a while to stop. I mean that literally, S-T-O-P. S means stop. T, take 3 deep breaths and smile from your head to your toes. O, observe your breath. And P, proceed with compassion and awareness.
I feel like a lot of, especially women in the Western Hemisphere, have a lot of guilt and a lack of self-compassion and love for themselves. What can we do to change those type of thought patterns?
Ask yourself, what am I guilty about? What are my limiting beliefs? Are they true? Am I 100% sure if they're true? What if the opposite was true? Little bit of self-reflection, and you go beyond that, because it's just an idea. That's all it is. It is an idea that you hold to be true because somebody told you it was true.
Let's talk about your new book, because a lot of people have been living in lack, and I am rebuking lack. So abundance, the inner path to wealth. We have to know, what is the inner path to wealth?
Okay, the book was inspired by a lyric from Bob Marley.
Yes.
Which said, some people are so poor, all they have is money. So I said, wow, that's so true. I started to look at people who were miserable, and it was either the extremely rich or the extremely poor, because all they could think about was money. Money became their identity. And they confused their net worth with their self-worth. Self-esteem is not the same as self-image. We as a society have sacrificed ourselves for our selfies. That's basically what has happened. So the book is about how to achieve abundance at every level: security and safety, sensual vitality and energy, money, of course, and ultimately liberation from false constructs that have imprisoned our society, so that you have 1% of people deciding what 99% of people should be doing.
If I ever have a kid, I'm going to name him Abundance. Abundance. A great name for it. Or her. Either way.
Deepak, you have been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And for everyone at home, do not forget to check out Deepak's book, Abundance, The Inner Path to Wealth, out right now. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
A viewer texted us this question recently. Is there a gas shortage in the United States right now? Our sources, Patrick DeHaan from GasBuddy.com, OPEC Plus, and Rista Energy, a research firm analyzing energy and oil markets. So right now, U.S. consumers are seeing high gas prices. Here in Charlotte, a gallon of gas rose almost 15 cents in the past week. But DeHaan says prices aren't going up because of lack of gas nationwide.
There's no shortage. There's no disruption. There's no shortage at all.
DeHaan says the false assumption might come from thinking back to the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack.
Be rest assured, the Colonial is operating, refineries are operating. Everything's fine. It's just that the price of oil is jumping significantly because Russia is the second largest global oil producer. And there's the risk that they either could stop exporting oil globally, or the West could sanction their crude oil.
There's also plenty of oil flowing into the U.S. An agreement major oil producers reached in November 2021 binds them to increasing production this year to ease gas prices and inflation. So we can verify, no, there is not a gas shortage in the United States. The nation also has about 580 million barrels of crude oil in reserves, in case it needs to draw on that stockpile.
A warning for astrology content creators on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook has gone viral.
These social media platforms are beginning to take the necessary steps in order to ban that type of content altogether.
The TikToker in the video makes astrology content and has nearly 500,000 followers. In the video, the self-described true crime astrologer claims the platforms will ban astrology, horoscope, and tarot content through changes to a popular targeted advertising strategy. Similar claims were made on Twitter. So, let's verify. Are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok banning astrology and tarot content? Our sources are TikTok and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, as well as a statement from an association of tarot professionals. Representatives for TikTok and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, confirmed the platforms are not banning astrology and tarot content. Tarosophy Tarot Association is a professional group for tarot card readers. In a February 15th Facebook post, they called the alleged ban misinformation. So we can verify, no. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are not banning astrology and tarot content. The claim appears to stem from a change in some online advertising features.
And it states on March 17th, 2022, they will be discontinuing targeted options for astrology, horoscope, and tarot.
Ad targeting allows advertisers on Facebook and Instagram to tailor campaigns to specific groups of people based on user data, like age, hobbies, and interests. In November 2021, Meta said some of the more specific targeting categories could be used, quote, in ways that lead to negative experiences for people in underrepresented groups, unquote. So they're eliminating some of them. But Meta confirmed that this change does not ban or block astrology content. Instead, it limits the type of people advertisers can target with their campaigns. So go ahead and share your horoscope. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. So Just Me wrote in, Putin does need to be taken out by the Russian people. If economic sanctions squeeze hard enough, hopefully they'll rise up and revolt. And testifying against a parent. Aaron says, I can't rat out anyone because of karma. And Gabriel says, testify against my parents. Are you kidding? Even at my age, they'll still spank me. I'm sorry about that, buddy. I'm so sorry about that, buddy. I don't think
Can you imagine being in court and just your parents giving you the same look that they gave when you were 5 when you broke something? You're like, oh, my dad's going to be mad after this trial.
Right, it's going to get real awkward.
Yeah. I do think it's what a lot of families are facing, though, not to this degree, but it's not testifying, but it's like there is a split, and this is sort of a metaphor for what a lot of families are going through.
And I want to say quickly about Russia, like, we saw Egypt, there was an uprising. There's just know that Putin is the kind of person that's going to bring guns out to the street on civilians. And I don't know that everybody wants to die in Russia either. And so that's a perspective before you do an uprising against a crazy leader.
There's a lot of dissent in Russia. You're absolutely right. A lot of punishment for that dissent. You're absolutely right. DBL, we are new every day. We are so grateful you are watching with us. Please keep writing us in. We will see you Monday, same time, same place. Be safe, be happy, be grateful for what you have. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.